Hello, my name is James. Today I want to share a special talk about improving your storytelling skills in English. Do you love stories? Have you ever felt the magic when someone shares a story and you can feel every word? If yes, keep listening because this is for you. Stories are like windows. When we hear them, we see new worlds, feel emotions, and understand life differently. I remember when I was a kid, my mom, Olivia, would tell me bedtime stories. They were simple, but her voice, her pauses, and her emotions made them unforgettable. Do you want to tell stories like that? Imagine telling a story so well that people smile, laugh, or even cry with you. But storytelling in English can be hard. I understand. We all face challenges with words, grammar, and sometimes fear. Paul, a close friend of mine, had a big dream to tell his story. He felt nervous, thinking people wouldn't understand him. But then he thought, what if my story touches one heart and that gave him courage? You need that courage too. Think of a time you wanted to share something special, but words didn't come out right. It's frustrating. I remember Amelia, a girl from my English class, once tried to share a memory of her father. She struggled, but when she spoke from her heart, it was beautiful. So, start with small stories from your heart. Don't worry if your English isn't perfect. Speak with emotion, and words will follow. To improve, practice listening. Listening helps us pick up the rhythm, tone, and style of a good story. I used to listen to stories on YouTube, especially when I felt lost. Listening helped me find my voice. You can do the same. Pick stories, close your eyes, and listen deeply. Now, let's talk about tips. First, believe in your story. Joseph, my friend, didn't speak much, but when he talked about his first love, you could feel every word. Speak about what you know and care about. Second, use pauses. Silence between words gives power. Third, practice in front of a mirror. See your emotions as you speak. When telling a story, don't just use words, use your eyes and hands. Imagine you're telling it to someone special. Mia, a lovely girl I knew, shared her story with so much joy in her eyes that it felt like a movie. You can create that magic too. Another important thing is to learn English with stories. I used to feel shy talking in English, but I practiced with small stories. Once, I forgot the word for rain, but I described it as the sky crying and it made people smile. Don't worry about mistakes, they make your story real. And remember, storytelling is not just words. It's feeling. It's a journey. Charlotte, a sweet girl, once cried while sharing how she overcame her fear of speaking in English. Her tears made us all connect with her deeply. That's the power of a true story. If you want to improve your personality, Storytelling is key. A good storyteller makes people listen, trust, and feel close. It's like opening a door to your heart. When you share your stories, people understand you better. And when people understand you, you feel confident. So don't just learn English, live it. Share your stories with friends, family, and even strangers. Practice, feel, and express. Imagine a moment when you share a story and someone thanks you for helping them. Imagine how that feels. This is the magic of storytelling. In the end, remember, it's not about perfection. It's about connection. I believe you have beautiful stories to tell, and maybe through your stories you will help someone who feels lost, like Amelia once did. So, what story will you share today? Don't wait for the perfect moment. Start now, speak from your heart, and let your story continue. When you start telling a story, think about the person listening. Picture them in your mind. Maybe it's someone like Emma, who's a little shy but loves to hear stories. Imagine the smile on her face when you share something from your heart. When I speak, I always think about someone special, and it makes my words more real and warm. One time, I told a story about my old dog, Buddy, who was like my best friend. I shared how he would wait for me every day by the door. Even though I struggled with words, people could feel my love for Buddy. This is the secret: speak from your heart, not just your mind. Now, let's talk about how to practice. William, my friend, used to record his stories on his phone. He listened to his own voice and found ways to improve. It might feel strange at first, but it works. When you hear yourself, you understand your strengths and where you can grow. Remember, storytelling is also about emotions. If you share a happy story, let your face show that joy. If it's sad, let your voice reflect that feeling. David, a quiet boy, once shared how he lost his pet bird. His voice was soft and slow, and we all felt his pain. This is the power of being real. Now, let's talk about using English to help you. English isn't just a language, it's a bridge to new worlds. I had a friend named Thomas who moved to a new country. He felt lonely because he couldn't speak English well. But he started to tell simple stories about his home and his family. Slowly, people began to listen and understand him. Through these stories, Thomas made new friends. English connected him to others and brought him joy. If you're learning English, try telling your own life stories. Even small things, like a happy memory from school or a special family moment, can become great stories. When you share, you open a part of yourself to others. This builds trust and deepens connections. Improving your storytelling also improves your personality. You become more confident. When you share a story, people feel close to you. They start to admire you and want to hear more from you. This is not just about speaking better English, it's about building a better you. One more thing, storytelling is not just about talking. It's about listening too. When you listen to others, you learn new words, ideas, and feelings. You become more understanding and patient. I used to listen to my grandmother, Isabella, tell stories from her life. She spoke slowly, with love in her voice. From her, I learned the art of pausing, of waiting for the right moment to say something special. If you want to be a better storyteller, listen to others. Listen with your heart. It's like when a friend shares a problem. You don't just hear the words, you feel them. That's what makes a story beautiful. If you ever feel scared to share, remember this: your story matters. It can change someone's day, maybe even their life. Imagine you're speaking to someone like Charles, who feels lost and alone. Your words could give him hope. Isn't that worth trying? Think about a time when you felt deeply moved by a story. Was it the words or the feeling behind them? For me, it was always the feeling. When Robert, my teacher, told us stories about his childhood, he laughed, cried, and paused, and we felt like we were there with him. I want you to create moments like this. Another tip is to read stories in English. Choose simple stories at first, then move to longer ones. I loved reading stories about adventure and friendship. They helped me learn new words and ideas, and they showed me different ways to express myself. When you read, pay attention to how the writer uses words, how they paint pictures with them. Remember to speak slowly and clearly. Don't rush your story. Give each word its moment. This makes people listen and connect. I used to rush my stories, but then I saw how Michael, my friend, told his stories with calmness. It made me feel relaxed and want to listen more. Now, let's talk about emotions. Emotions are the soul of a story. If you share something from your life, don't be afraid to show your feelings. Once, a girl named Sophia shared her story of losing her grandmother. She cried while speaking, but that made her words so powerful. We all felt her love and her loss. This is what makes a story unforgettable. When you're stuck with words, remember that it's okay to pause. Pausing can add meaning. It's like when you watch a movie and the music stops right before something big happens. Pauses give power to your words. I know telling stories can be hard, especially in English, but every time you share, you grow. You become stronger, more confident, and more open. When I started, I felt scared too. But with practice, I found my voice. And I believe you will find yours too. Before I go, I want you to think about this: what's a small story from your life that you can share today? Maybe it's about a friend, a family moment, or a challenge you faced. Share it with someone. and see how it feels. And if you feel scared, remember, even the best storytellers felt scared at first, but they didn't stop. So, let your story continue. Don't let fear hold you back. Speak from your heart, listen with your heart, and you will find the magic in your words. When you share a story, it doesn't have to be grand or perfect. Think about small, simple moments that mean a lot to you. I remember a day when I helped an old man cross the street. It was raining, and he smiled at me and said, "Thank you, son." That small moment stayed with me. Stories are like that tiny memories that touch hearts. So don't worry about finding the perfect story. Start with small moments. One of the best ways to improve storytelling is to feel each word you say. Imagine you're painting a picture with your words. One time, Amelia, a shy girl in my class, shared a story about her first day of school. She described every detail: how her shoes felt tight, how the classroom smelled like fresh paint, and how she wanted to cry. We all felt like we were there with her. That's the magic of storytelling, taking people to a new place with your words. Now, let's talk about problems and solutions. Many people struggle with telling stories because they think their English isn't good enough. They worry about grammar or making mistakes. But remember, the goal of a story isn't to show perfect English. It's to connect with others. When I started speaking in English, I made many mistakes. But every mistake taught me something new. And every new word gave me more courage. If you want to improve your storytelling, start by speaking to yourself. Talk about your day in front of a mirror, or record your voice. When you see yourself and hear yourself, you understand how you sound to others. John, a friend of mine, used to practice this every day. He would tell a story to his reflection until he felt comfortable. Slowly, his confidence grew. Now, let's talk about using emotions to make your story stronger. Emotions are what make people remember a story. I once told a story about a time when I lost my favorite toy as a kid. It wasn't a big thing, but I shared how heartbroken I felt. My friends listened, and some even shared their own stories of losing something special. It's these moments of connection that make storytelling powerful. You might feel nervous to share your stories. But remember this: your story is a gift to someone else. Think of a person who might need to hear your words. Maybe they are lonely or feeling down. Your story could bring them hope or make them smile. Isn't that a beautiful thing? If you're learning English, storytelling can also be a great way to improve your language. I remember Daniel, a boy in my English class, who was very quiet. He felt shy because he couldn't find the right words. But one day, he decided to tell a simple story about his family dinner. He used simple words and short sentences, but he spoke with love, and we all felt that love. It showed me that you don't need fancy words to tell a good story. You just need to be real. One more tip: when you tell a story, use your voice like music. Make it go high and low, fast and slow. This makes people want to listen. Imagine you're telling a story to a little child, like my little sister Ava. When I share stories with her, I make my voice fun and exciting, and it keeps her smiling. Let's talk about how storytelling can improve your personality. A good storyteller is a good listener too. When you listen to others, you learn new ways to tell stories, and you become more understanding. Listening helps you grow as a person. I used to listen to my uncle, Donald, tell stories about his travels. He spoke with so much excitement that I felt like I was on an adventure with him. Listening to him made me a better storyteller and a more curious person. If you want to improve your English, don't just read words, feel them. When you learn a new word, try to use it in your stories. Make it a part of your life. One day, I learned the word brave, and I used it to tell a story about a friend, Benjamin, who stood up for me when I felt scared. When you use words in real stories, they become a part of you. Let's talk about adding memories to your stories. Think of a moment when you felt really happy or really sad. Share that feeling in your story. Charlotte, my neighbor, once shared a story about finding her lost kitten. She spoke with so much joy that everyone around her smiled. Adding memories to your stories makes them come alive. Another thing to remember is to be yourself. Don't try to be perfect or someone you're not. People connect with real stories and real emotions. Once George, a friend of mine, shared a story about failing his exam. He didn't hide his tears, and that honesty made his story so powerful. When you are real, people trust you and listen to you. If you ever feel scared to share, remember that every great storyteller felt scared at first. Even the best speakers in the world started with fear. But they kept trying, and they grew. So, don't let fear stop you. Speak from your heart, and your words will find their way. Before I finish, I want you to remember one thing: your story matters. No matter how small or simple it may seem, it can touch someone's heart. And when you share your story, you become stronger, braver, and more connected to others. So, what story will you tell today? Don't wait for the perfect moment. Start now. Speak slowly from your heart and let your story continue. Thank you for listening. And don't forget, share your story with me in the comments. Let's keep this journey going together.